Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something tonight. This was for the folks who've been loving somebody that just don't love like the movies say. You know who I'm talking about. The avoidants. The ones who push you away right when it starts feeling good. But listen here. If an avoidant starts acting a certain way, baby, they already in love with you. Oh yeah, they just don't know how to handle it. When someone's avoiding, it means they run when love gets too real. They don't like emotions showing up uninvited. And the moment things get deep, they pull back like a turtle into a shell. But let me tell y'all something right now. If an avoidant starts reaching out to you first, starts initiating contact without any pressure from your side, that ain't just a message. That's a signal. That's a big old emotional red flag waving in the wind that says, I'm scared, but I still want you. Now that right there, that's love trying to speak through fear. See, avoidants don't move fast. They don't chase. They're not the ones blowing up your phone at 3 a.m. talking about, I miss you. Nah, they might go days in silence, weeks even. But when they start breaking that pattern, when they check on you out the blue, when they ask how your day went, or say something like, just thought of you, baby, they're already knee-deep in feelings. You don't just cross the emotional lines you built for survival unless you feel something powerful pulling you in. And let me tell you, that first message from them ain't never casual. It might look casual, hey, what you doing? You good? But you gotta understand, that little message took a lot. They probably stared at their screen for 10 minutes before they hit send. They probably typed and erased, because in their mind, every message is a risk. Reaching out to you means they're opening the door to rejection. And if they're avoidant, rejection ain't just a no, it's a trigger. Now listen, some folks out here think love is always fireworks and big gestures, roses on the bed, songs on the radio, but that ain't how avoidants love. You want to see the moment they falling? It's that first little text. It's when they pick up the phone, not because they miss something, but because they miss something. You. That's their way of saying, I'm trying, even if I'm scared. And don't confuse their silence before that for not caring. They care. That silence is them battling the voices in their head telling them not to get too close, not to get too attached, not to repeat old heartbreaks. But love has a funny way of breaking down walls, even if you don't want it to. And when they start initiating contact, when they're the one reaching out, that means love already snuck through a crack in the armor. Sometimes they'll reach out over little things. Did you see that movie we talked about? I passed by your favorite spot today. But those little things, that's them trying to stay connected without making it obvious. That's them testing the waters, hoping you'll welcome them without asking too many questions. Because they don't want to admit they need you, they just want to feel like it's safe to want you. And here's the kicker. If they start reaching out even after you've had a disagreement or a fallout, oh, you got them. That's rare. That's bold. That's love making them take steps even their fear can't stop. That avoidant who used to disappear at the first sign of conflict is now showing up awkward, maybe unsure, but present. That right there tells you everything you need to know. See, love doesn't always walk in with confidence. Sometimes it tiptoes in through hesitation. Sometimes it shows up late and unsure with a trembling voice and a scared heart. But when someone who usually avoids closeness starts initiating connection, that's love trying to speak its first words. It may be messy, it may not be fluent, but it's real. You just got to know how to hear it, and more importantly, know how to hold space for it. Because that first move, that first call, that first message, that first, I was thinking about you. It ain't just a casual thing. That's love. Fighting to be seen through fear. Now, let me tell you something that most people miss when they're dealing with an avoidant. You think they cold. You think they closed off. You think they don't feel what you feel. But baby, let me put you up on some game right now. When an avoidant starts sharing their personal stories, their fears, their insecurities, that's not small talk. That's them handing you the very thing they usually keep locked deep down behind years of silence and emotional security systems. And if they doing that with you, they're already in love. They just don't know how to say it, but trust me, they showing it. Avoidance, man, they been through stuff. They done built walls so high, you'd need a whole construction crew to tear them down. They don't trust easy. They don't open up to just anybody. And they sure as hell don't talk about their past unless their hearts already got you on the inside. So when they start telling you about something that hurt them as a kid, or how their last relationship shattered them, or even just admitting that they don't like talking about feelings at all, you better believe that's them opening up because they feel safe with you. Now, here's the real deal. Avoidants don't do vulnerability. Vulnerability is like walking around naked in a snowstorm for them. It's uncomfortable, it's scary, and it makes them feel exposed. So if you find them sitting across from you, voice a little shaky, maybe eyes looking away while they speak, saying something like, "I've never really told anyone this before," don't take that lightly. That's their version of, "I trust you with who I really am." That ain't lust. That ain't loneliness. That's love speaking through cracks in their emotional armor. Most people think love is in the loud stuff, the roses, the dates, the I love yous. But with an avoidant, love is in the quiet confessions, the stuff they whisper, the little bits they drop like breadcrumbs, hoping you'll follow and won't judge them. They'll tell you things in pieces, test the waters with little truths just to see if you'll stay. And if you do, if you show them that their truth don't scare you off, that's how you earn their heart. Not by forcing it, but by being patient enough to let them hand it over, piece by piece. I know people who've dated avoidants and thought they never say anything deep, but let me ask you this, have they said something deep to you? Because if they have, you're different. You're the one who cracked that code. You're the one they don't just see as a partner, they see you as a safe place. And that, my friend, is the most powerful thing you can be to someone who's always had to protect themselves. And don't be fooled when they open up. They ain't looking for sympathy. They're looking for understanding. They're watching how you react. They're paying close attention to whether you flinch at their pain or hold steady. Because if you can handle that truth, that story they bury, that fear they've been hiding, then you're showing them a kind of love they didn't know existed. A love that doesn't run, a love that stays. So when an avoidant starts sharing personal stories with you, things they've never said out loud before, that ain't just a moment. That's a shift. That's love showing up in the only way they know how. It's not flashy. It's not romantic comedy material, but it's real. It's raw. It's the kind of love that had to fight through fear just to make it to the surface. That's not just someone talking. That's someone risking. So when you hear that story, when they finally trust you with that part of their past or their pain, remember what it took for them to get there. They didn't choose to share it because they were bored. They shared it because they care. They shared it because somewhere deep in their heart, they already love you, and this is their way of saying it without ever having to say a word. Let me tell you something most people miss when it comes to understanding someone with an avoidant heart. They ain't gonna come running with flowers in a love letter. No, they don't fall like that. You won't always see the butterflies or hear the sweet talk. What you will see, if you really pay attention, is a little nervous energy, a little awkwardness, a little shift in how they act around you. See, when an avoidant starts to feel something real, they don't get smooth, they get clumsier. Because love for them ain't natural. It makes them stumble. Most folks think being nervous means someone's not confident. But that ain't the case here. These avoidants, they might be strong in every other part of their life. Got their job handled, their space in order, their schedule locked down, but you walk in the room and suddenly they start fumbling their words, forget what they were about to say, or act like they don't know where to put their hand. That ain't them being weird, that's them being real. That's love throwing them off their game. That's their walls starting to crack just because you're near. I'm telling you right now, when someone who's avoidant starts feeling something deep, they don't know how to process it. So instead of leaning in, they get shaky. You ever seen somebody who normally stands tall suddenly start shrinking a little when they speak to you, like they can't meet your eyes for too long? That's vulnerability knocking. And baby, when it comes to avoidance, vulnerability is the loudest sign of love they got. They don't wear their heart on their sleeve, they wear it behind their back. And if it starts slipping into view, that's a big deal. Now, sometimes their nervousness might come off like they're pulling back, like they're distancing themselves. And you might take it personal, think they're losing interest. But don't be fooled. That pullback, that awkward silence, that moment where they suddenly seem uncomfortable after laughing with you or being close to you, that's their heart going, wait, this is starting to feel real. And real scares them. Real means risk. Real means the possibility of getting hurt. But the fact that they're still there, even in the middle of all that fear, that says more than any romantic words ever could. Watch their body language. Avoidants don't always say what they feel, but their actions will tell you everything. They might fidget when you compliment them. Their voice might crack when they try to say something personal. They might even joke too much or change the subject just to dodge a moment that feels too intimate. But you being there, staying patient, staying present, lets them know it's safe, that they don't have to have it all together to be loved. And here's the thing, you make them feel something they're not used to. You make them feel seen. And when they're seen, they feel vulnerable. That's why they act nervous. It ain't weakness, it's exposure. They're not used to somebody looking past the walls, past the tough exterior, and into the part of them they try to hide. And the truth is, they don't know what to do with that. But it's also the most honest expression of love they've ever had. They might fumble through a conversation. They might send a message, then regret it, then send another one trying to play it cool. That back and forth, that emotional tug of war, that's love in translation. That's what it looks like when somebody wants to give their heart, but don't quite know how. They ain't trying to confuse you. They just confused by what they feel. So when they act nervous around you, when they start stumbling instead of shining, that's your cue. That's the sign. That's them trying to love you in the only way they know how, imperfectly, quietly, awkwardly, but genuinely. That ain't fear of you. That's fear of what they feel for you. And when it starts showing up in their nervous energy, you better believe they're already in deeper than they'll ever admit out loud. Now let me break something down for y'all real quick, because this right here is one of the most important things folks overlook when it comes to avoidance. See, these are the people who love their space. They love their solitude. They need control over their time, over their world, over who gets to be close and who don't. And they guard that space like it's a vault. But if you start to notice them slowly making space for you, allowing you into that controlled little world they live in, even if it's just a corner of it, you better believe something powerful is happening. That's not casual. That's not friendly. That's love making quiet moves. Avoidants don't just let people in. They don't do it because they're bored, and they sure don't do it because it's convenient. If anything, closeness makes them uncomfortable. Being seen makes them feel exposed. So when they start creating space in their routine, in their life, in their future, that's them opening the door just a crack and saying, you can come in. And you got to understand how major that is, because it takes them everything to even consider sharing their peace. You might not notice it at first. It doesn't come with fireworks or grand invitations. It might start small. Maybe they mention something they're planning next week and say, you could come if you want. Now that might not seem like much, but for them, that's a huge deal. That's them weaving you into their plans, considering you part of the picture. And trust me, they don't do that with just anybody. If you're part of their schedule now, you're already part of their heart. They start adjusting their habits, not all at once, not dramatically, but you'll feel it. Maybe they used to avoid calls after work, but now they'll answer when they see your name. Maybe they used to spend their weekends alone, but now they're carving out a Saturday afternoon just for you. It ain't about how much time they give. It's about what that time means. They're giving you the one thing they don't give freely: access. And here's what people don't realize: for an avoidant, making space isn't about being romantic. It's about being real. It's their way of saying, I'm trying. They don't always say, I love you, but they show it when they let you in on their routine. They show it when they remember what you like. They show it when they make that effort to include you, even if it goes against their usual rhythm. Sometimes they'll let you leave a few things at their place: a toothbrush, a hoodie, some little item that means nothing to most people, but everything to them. Because to an avoidant, sharing space is sacred. It's not just physical, it's emotional. It means they're letting down their guard. They're saying, I want you close, even if I don't know how to say it. That's their love language, plain and simple. And look, they might not be loud about it. They won't post you online or shout it from the rooftops. But if they let you into the quiet parts of their life, the parts no one else sees, that means you're already part of something bigger. Because making space for someone when you spent your life guarding your peace, that's deep, that's intentional, that's love in motion, even if they don't have the words to call it that yet. You start to become part of their rhythm, the good mornings, the check-ins, the small routines that didn't include anyone before you came along. And don't think for 1 second that it's easy for them. every bit of space they make.